Tuning into the Black Fire Radio, and you're listening to Yes Massive Wagwan, Andrew Robinson, your Jamaican brother there, reaching out to all the massive on the African continent, and you're tuning into the Pan-African Bliss Show with your host, none other than Joby, from Monday to Friday. Stay tuned. Andrew Robinson, love, respect, and justice for all. Big up,
massive. Bringing communities together around the world. Worldwide, online 24/7.
Are you coming home back to ride with me? Is your love so strong to die for me? Take my hand and promise to take the lead. Want to see you smiling, girl, can't you see? Baby, in a little town, reaching in your Johnny Coopera, Aquayo, Nitechocho, Siquenu Nicori, Uniles and Bali, Osipna Mainda, Kiko, Terumahari, Teramos Mama, Ruya, Ushaitaka, Teramos Mama, you know what you mean to me. I don't need assurance. And I'm a wiki combo. And I need you, wasi. And I'm a wiki cosima. And you're not doing it. You see it. You even at you now. My shady. Really tangy, mama. My baby. Nakupenda mana mama utibiri kono manjambo ngele kono manjambo nakuna manjambo my baby nakupenda mana mama.
and good afternoon, family. Karibuni sana to another beautiful station right here on the Black Fire Network radio station, media of the 21st century. This is the Pan-African Bliss Show, in case you joined, rather tuned here for the first time, and welcome to today's conversation. Shout out to everyone with me on Facebook, on YouTube, on Rumble, on the show page, and also everyone live with me on the radio station itself, on TikTok, Karibuni sana, and also for those who shall catch this show on a replay. I hope you guys get to enjoy, and leave your comments down below the comment section regarding every particular topic that we get to discuss right here, and what are your thoughts regarding it. And of course, welcome once again. Today we shall be talking about Israel urging the UN to drop the charges which actually were imposed by South Africa. Remember, that is I think 2 months ago, or since the beginning, or since last year towards the end of the year, with what Israel has been doing in Palestine, that is in Gaza. We've been seeing South Africa as being one among the top countries in Africa that has been pushing for Israel to be, to face, that is for them to literally be, to face justice, or for them to literally be accused of what they have been committing, because South Africa has a similar history of what also Israel did do in South Africa years ago. But that is what we shall be talking about. And combining with that, I've seen that actually in Kenya, that was during the weekend, we also had our Kenyans marching and protesting against the genocide that has been happening and being committed by Israel in Gaza, or to the Palestine. But it's crazy to see, especially where this is coming from, the demonstration. We're talking about the poorest places, which is in parts of Kenya, especially the city itself, that is Mathare. Where we have quite, not really a big slum like the way we have Kibera, but it is also a big slum we have there. Most of the people who are there are very docile. Most of the people who are there are trying to make a day-to-day, when it comes to matters of living, the people are not earning much. Most of them cannot even take their kids to school. I've been there personally. I've lived in Mathare with an aunt of mine, and the condition there was very hard for me to adapt. I remember at the beginning, and if I try look at the mindset I did bump into there, not everyone is really educated or gets to understand what is happening in the real world. They just follow and go along with what the media says, and this is actually one of the biggest places where we see people dying every time we have demonstrations going on, because they actually are very much influenced by our opposition leader. And this is because most of the people who reside there, they are low. And understanding tribalism, how it has taken control in Africa and politics, it's crazy. So I shall be talking about that, because I want to discuss a little bit of the mindset over there, and see why they were demonstrating against Israel genociding the Palestinians and all that. Do they know what is happening, or are they just going along with the wind, because this is something the rest of the world is doing? And I've tend to understand that Africans, most of us just do things because the world is doing so. We don't question why the world is doing so. Why is my involvement required in this of the world is participating on? So that is what we shall be focusing on as our major focus of the day, where we can see Israel actually demanding that their charges should be withdrawn. We've seen this happening since South Africa took the matters to the International Criminal Justice Court, and right now they're urging the UN to reject the latest request by South Africa to interim orders to prevent starvation in Gaza. That is our major focus of the day, and I hope you guys get to enjoy this. And we shall also be talking about Gambia, where we can see that yesterday they were supposed to actually come up with a law and a rule, is if they are going to continue, if the country is going to continue with the participation of female genital mutilation, or this is going to stop. And personally, I said yesterday that I feel like it's so dumb of Africans, especially coming from the men who have failed to protect their people, especially when it comes to the women. I discussed this yesterday. We saw 28 countries are part and parcel of which are very active in participating in female genital mutilation. We saw Mali, we saw Burkina Faso, we saw Niger, we saw a lot of countries, Malawi, Kenya, and so many that I mentioned for those who are tuned in. If you did catch up, or if you didn't, kindly watch the previous show yesterday. We saw that how many countries? We had 28 that are very active in FGM, and I think 20 countries that have managed right now to make it, actually to ban this and make it illegal as a cultural practice. And I believe, and I said that this is what African countries, and once we have one motion being brought up by one country, if we have these other countries participating in it, we should push this all together and make it a law as a continent of Africa. But It's crazy to see how we've failed as a continent, especially when we talk about our leaders who we know majority it's men. And it is crazy. So that is what we shall be discussing all about. I also want to talk about what is happening in Ethiopia. Yesterday, we had people who managed to walk away with millions after an Ethiopian bank had a glitch. And personally, I'm happy for the people, because when you talk about the banks, which is one of the conversations we were having yesterday, and how they do take control of your money. And I remember there's something Keith once mentioned: once you put your money in the bank, it is no longer yours. And that is something I think so far we all know. But I'm happy for these Ethiopians, because they did manage to walk away with some amount of millions. Even if it's not yours, you know, you walk away with it if you get the chance to, still walk away with it, because that's what they do all the goddamn time. And last but not least, tomorrow it shall be actually a world storytelling day, the 20th of March. But I decided to bring this story up because there's an upcoming story in Congo, that is in Congo, the small Congo itself, where we have seen a group of African people who are trying to come up with creative aims of restoring back the Africa storytelling. And I want to discuss a little bit of this. I don't know how many of you grew up being told stories by your parents, and if you can tell maybe the positive impacts they had, especially when you talk about the African society. Personally, I had a very good time when I had an uncle of mine who could tell stories, and this has become actually a very dormant activity which we used to practice as African people. We're seeing children right now, parents right now would rather buy tablets, phones to their children for them to be distracted with the internet. We're just from speaking about Meta on TikTok a few minutes ago on the Vibe Show with Shmani. And we've seen how, when we saw Mark Zuckerberg being accused, who is just, another puppet being used to do all this. He said that they are trying to control information, which we know they are not. So that is our major focus of the day. And of course, karibuni sana to everyone tuning in. I see so many of you in the building. Welcome to today's conversation. I want to go back to one more jam, just a few minutes to few seconds actually. And I began with Bahati. That was at Diambo featuring Prince Inda, one of my amazing best artists right here in the 254 with the whatever genre of music he does. That is actually Prince Inda and Bahati. But it is still by him, Me and More. Hope you guys get to enjoy. I'll be coming back with the quote of the day as we get straight to the conversation of today.
Beautiful, wonderful, beautiful is what you are. Beautiful, wonderful, beautiful. Can I look at you? Can I be with you? Can you be mine? Can I look at you? Fall in love with you? Can you love me? Nakupenda, oh baby, nakupenda. Nakupenda, oh. Mi amor, mi amor, mi amor, amor, mi amor, mi amor, mi amor. Ile kitu wewe unanidu, unaniluta, nitakwenda.
Yeah, that is Bahati with Me More, and I love me some Bahati. Shumani was just saying how she's a full hater of Bahati, but personally, I love me some Bahati. But anyway, I hope you guys doing amazing. For those who are just tuning in, karibuni sana once again. This is the Pan African Bliss Show. My name is Joby. If this is your first time right here, kindly, I'd love to urge you to join us officially by first subscribing to whatever platform you're listening to us from. If in case it is on Facebook, kindly follow us on YouTube. Kindly also do subscribe. In case you are on the show page and you don't have actually your profile signed in, you're using some user numbers, kindly ensure you sign in with your official names or your nicknames like John Mosquito or some other crazy amazing names. But also for those who are live with us on Rumble or those who get to catch the shows on a replay, asanteni sana. And I hope you guys can also do leave your comments behind regarding what we discuss right here. If in case you understand a thing or two, feel free to put your minds, your thoughts out loud on the comment section. And for those who catch the shows on Spotify as a podcast, I hope you guys get to enjoy. And also, I'd love to urge you to download our app in case you don't have our application. You can find it on the Google Play Store for those who have Android phones. For those who have Apple phones, all you can do is join us through the website. That is the www.blackoutfirenetwork.com. We also do have an active cash app, Mr. Blackout Fire. So you can donate over there in case you feel the informations are literally very impactful to you, or in case you just want to share, something good like some KFC for Joby. I'd really appreciate for me. But anyway, my quote of today is Tuesdays are Tuesday days. And I'm not gonna cap. For me, Tuesdays are Tuesday days. I remember a long time or some few time ago, I used to come and say Tuesdays I feel always very calm, and today I feel that way. It's been a while since I felt a very, very calm, very calm. I just feel very calm. I don't want to know unnecessary bullshit. That is all I'm gonna say, And this says Tuesday are Tuesday days. Choose to smile, choose to love, and choose to help. That is my quote of today, and I hope you stay motivated with that amazing quote of the day. Shout out to Mr. Blackout Fire with us on TikTok. Shout out to Evan. Shout out to Fats in the building, and I hope you guys are doing great. Starting with today's conversation, I want to start right away with what is happening in Congo, where we can see creativity of storytelling coming back to life. And this is something personally I'm very proud of sharing. Coming from and growing up in the African continent, this is something we grew up embracing so much, with especially my great grandma. That is my great grandma. Yeah, my great grandma who died. That was in 2022. She used to tell us a lot of stories, a lot of stories. And it used to actually, if you look at storytelling, this is where we had the chance of children knowing each other. That is cousins, uncles, literally cousins. I'd say cousins because it's all about children, And this actually, if you look at today's society or today's Africa, we've discussed a couple of matters where you see cousins marrying each other, and this because you never got the chance to literally, get into a family gathering. You never got to get this time of storytelling, knowing the difference between the two of you, why you are cousins, and all that. Like a lot of things, and storytelling was one of the biggest impacts that we used to value in Africa, or rather as Africa, and the children especially. I've given an example just right now, where we see today's generation. Most of the parents are embracing and buying their children's tablets, getting them hooked on the internet. Like children right now, I've discussed this a couple of times, where we see that they're not really active mentally like the way I've grown up, myself, because I think I grew up with a lot of freedom, especially when I was with my mom. I used to be a very playful person. I used to escape chores of the house and go play. Like I literally used to be a very playful person, and I never limited myself. I'd be beaten, go back, beaten, go back. But today we have children just all stuck in the cartoons, which we've seen actually highly advocate and promote LGBTQ agendas. And it has taken, I think, so much time for parents to connect. And I'd love to give a quick shout out to Keith for, him and the kids recognizing that at a very young age. It's not so many of the kids, they have the same mindset who can say or tell that this is actually an agenda which is promoting, where you can see a boy kissing a boy, or a girl kissing a girl, or a dad being a man and a man being a father, and also being a mom, and all that. Not most of the parents or children can be able to detect that this is wrong. This is wrong, but that is what they want eventually. That is what they've been pushing for. And I feel like, especially in Africa, it has caught up. Because if I try to look at my siblings, before I moved out of the house, they used to wake up and they're tuned in into cartoon all the time. You wake up, and even most of the kids, I think, I've been able to take care of around. I've seen all they do is wake up, tune into TV, nothing else. Tune in, wake up, TVs, and it's gonna be so hard for you to, change the mindset of these kids once you start storytelling to them, which is what we're talking about right here, because they're not used to this. You never introduced this to them when they were really young. But tomorrow being the 20th of January, tomorrow being the 20th of March, sorry, It is a World Storytelling Day, which marks a world tribute to the craft of oral storytelling, observant annual on the March equinox. And during this day and night, individuals across the globe endeavor to both narrate and hear stories in diverse languages and settings. But apart from that, before I get to share this, I did look up into some few articles, and I want to read some before we get to move on to why is Congo doing this. And I believe, actually, if you look at the whole Congo, I believe this right now, especially right now, is a high time for us to start embracing all these cultures, because these were cultures. When you talk about the FGM bullshit all being some backache behaviors that we still practice, these are some of the things that we need to be practicing and that need to be very, very active. You know, they need to be very, very active. But if I try to look at today's world, our grandmas are also stressed. Our people are very stressed. Like literally, our grandmas cannot even tell stories anymore because they are caught up, or they're caught up in this crisis of living. When you talk about the cost of living, when you talk about a poor farming, when you talk about a lot of things, like our people are so much distracted, so they don't have time to sit down and talk about. I believe it was easy because people were very abundantly blessed. We had food in stocks, like we had so much in store. We knew the value in our resources. We knew so much, and we also did have time to invest on each other. But right now it is super, super tough. But correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm the one who knows it different. But I read this article, rather bumped into this article when I was doing my research. And this was an article released on 2016, which is a Q&A with Ernest Mnyonu on Africa children's literature. And that is something very amazing to discuss on. So I want to just read this article, and then I'll read another one which actually discuss the importance of storytelling and the African culture, because it is a culture which you can say that actually it is important because it incorporates diversity, it twists drama, it increases awareness, model and presentation, and a lot more that I'll be reading. So stick through and give your thoughts for those who are tuned in. But yes, it starts and says that at the recent African Literature Association conference in Atlanta, Africa in Words had the opportunity to speak with Ernest Emunyonu, professor and chair of the Africa Studies Department at the University of Michigan, Flint, about the Africa Literature Today's latest issue and children's literature and storytelling. So I have a red flag before I even continue with the article. The first red flag is, you can see where this conference was held. Atlanta, Georgia, if I'm not wrong. That is in Georgia. Atlanta, probably Atlanta, Georgia. But yeah, it was held at the wrong place. And I believe if you want to have these conferences when we talk about the African problems, again, this is why I go back to the top. This fake organization, that is the AU, which is the main reason why they came with this fake organization. It was first a real organization, was to create Pan-Africanism, and I believe a whole lot more, especially when it comes to the African continent, dealing with its own problem and resolving their own problems or finding solutions to their own problems. But we've seen countries like Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger withdrawing from the AU, and this is because the purpose of this organization is not what it does today, or the main reason behind it is not what we have today. You know, it's something totally, completely different. So my first red flag on this is where the conference was held, and African Union, this is where we have these matters, or where we should have presented to the officials or to our people, to our leaders, by the young people, and then we put it into action. But they go ahead and say it is really because so we have one of the people on this conference who questioned what inspired you to feature children's literature in the latest issue of the Africa Literature Today, and why children's literature. And says it is really because it has been a very important genre that has consistently been ignored, which I agree. And I did a random survey. That is what he says. Teachers, critics, and perceptions of African children's literature. And I was horrified that they continued to put it down as not being a serious genre. I also had I also had contacted a number of publishers, and I found out that books for children were actually at the bottom of their budget list. And yet, if you go back to the traditional African society and social values, what we now call children's literature has always been there as a tool for raising kids. That is true. And these stories are drawn from the oral tradition, and the oral traditions in terms of folk tales always has a reason and a lesson. That's why we say that the literature is good, instructive, and entertaining, especially there where we can see that it is instructive, entertaining. The entertaining part was literally something that we used to, when you could set some bonfire and you have your grandma storytelling to you guys after having dinner, or before dinner, before you guys go have the food. It used to be very amazing. That was literally what made us gather in that bonfire circle, because the fun entertainment part of it before you pick the the instructive part of it, or the good part of it, or the educative part of it. They also add, you tell a story, then you say, ask a child, what do we learn from this? Some people say that the children's stories have extensively moral laden plots, but let me read that. But what's wrong with that if that leads to better behavior in kids? So what we decided in the additional board, that we should revisit the issue of children's literature. My editorial in the issue is titled Time to Rethink Attitudes and Misconceptions, which I agree, because I believe this actually takes us to how Westernization has taken control of Africa as a continent. I believe that is what we see right here, Westernization, especially when it comes to the books. Because I think I've given a very good example personally, where in our library, like in our school, that is in my primary school, we never used to have, we had a library that was very active, but the stories that were there, and the only time we could go to the libraries, it was at a very specific periods, and when you go look for books, the kind of books you have is Anne went and met John, John built a house, build this, the father did this, like some crazy story that don't make an impact to you as an African person. So you're stuck in that storytelling of their narrative, but you're missing the narrative of who you are, which lacks in these books. I think up to there we're together, and that is my thoughts regarding it. He says, I further was horrified when a professor in Nigeria was somebody who has been making the rounds, lecturing, giving talks, saying that children's literature is nothing more than children's literature. And we are really doing our best to change that perception and show that it is a rich literature. It is, because once you start changing, personally, I believe in understanding kids' mindsets and how kids do pick up information very quickly. If you start installing information that is impactful to me as an African person, I'll grow up actually rightfully. I'm going to grow up knowing what I'm dealing with in real life. And this is why we see us trying to unlearn the truth today, because a lot of lies have been told about us. And this starts from even the storytelling, which we are reading pathetic books, and not the real things in the ground, and all that. He also asked that another one also did, you think there is the persistent trivialization of the genre. He says, because people are not reading and they are not aware of it. Go back to the Chinua Achebe. He said that he was horrified when he saw his children, his first daughter, coming home from school full of strange ideas, full of unimaginable perceptions and views. And he and his wife were concerned, and they traced it to the school, to what they were being taught, to what they were reading. And he said it was time for him to begin to at least take care of his own household. So he began to write for his children and their friends. Some publishers are also now reviewing their stand that children's literature's book don't make money because they make a lot of money. In fact, the highest selling book I I have in Nigeria now is my second largest book, Uzo and His Father, and it makes more money than everything that was critical, and so on and so forth. Because I remember actually with the stories we used to be told, like today we're meeting with the hyenas and the lions, we used to be told skills of how, and these stories, how they cap the situations. But today we've been told by our own government, when you meet a hyena, just stand firm, don't make noise, don't fling a finger, don't do nothing, just stand there till the hyena walks away. But these storytellings did come also with skills and a whole lot more. But I will not finish this article. For those who are interested to read much more of it, I feel like it is very positive, because this guy narrates actually the importance of storytelling. People are posing questions to him. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about the volume and all that? Like, there's a lot to learn from this. And I don't know how many of you can relate, especially to all my diaspora people. I bet this is something you guys never had. I am assuming. That is just my assumption. But for those who shall catch the show on a replay, you can let me know on the comment section. I believe this is something, especially with the destruction and the oppression of the Black people in the States. I don't believe parents have time for this nonsense, which they claim is nonsense today, which is being claimed is nonsense today. But yeah, on this other article, we can see it is narrating a little bit of why we need to storytell. So I want to read a few of it before I get to move on. Time is really going super, super fast. So they're saying stories have proven to be one of the major means by which events are preserved. Myths and misconceptions are usually stories told and passed down from generations to generations, which is true. And some may even have occurred thousands of years ago, yet somehow they remain relevant to us today. This just shows that the stories have the power to immortalize events. And this is one of the ladies, or one of the people in the stories, who says, I grew up in the village with my parents, and I have learned more about my culture through the stories of my parents, and told me that I was taught in school. And we were never really taught much about our culture in school, which is true. And I love stories as a kid, and somehow my mom never ran out of them. Okay, she does repeat some of our favorites every now and then, but it didn't matter because I enjoyed it every time. I was more than happy to learn about my ancestors and all the great things they did, which is rare to see even our parents talk about it today, because the truth of the matter is our parents were also miseducated. So if I was to go today to my dad or to any guardian that I have left and tell them, can you tell this younger sibling of mine a story that you never told me, or one thing about Africa, that you literally didn't study in school? They're going to repeat the same thing that we've been taught in school, because that is all we know. People come in here as missionaries, helpers. We needed help as Africa, and all those lies. And that is the narrative we have even up to date. Unlike for most of us who are waking up and know a lot of the truth, that is just the truth of what we've been taught. But yes, she says that I was more than happy to learn about my ancestors and all the great things they did. They were how they fought their wars, why they fought them, and why even now we still practice some of the traditions they practiced then. So why don't so many African writers explore the culture enough when searching for stories? That is a question. There seems to be a misconception that African writers need to curate their stories in ways that appeal to foreign audience. That is the truth. And we are constantly reminded that we need to change some aspects of our culture so that is generally acceptable. And I think this is just preposterous, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. As storytellers, she says, I believe the more we explore our culture, the more we will find new things to write about. Here are some more reasons to explore heritage when telling our stories. One, he or she says it is to incorporate diversity and twist the drama, which he says that imagine going to bookstores and finding all the books in it written by British authors that would suck, right? And while I have nothing against British authors, I have a thing for distinctness and peculiarity, which can really only be appreciated with diversity. The beautiful thing about African culture is that though the tribes are different, they share some things in common that makes you and tells us we are the same people. Exploring our culture while writing our stories allows us to bring in different perspectives. In fact, two persons from the same tribe can tell one story but different ways, which I totally agree. I totally agree because I've seen that, I think, with the Luos and Luyas, especially most of the times. And they also add this increase, also adds the second thing, or the second point is increasing awareness, which I do agree, model representation, and a lot of things he also did add. He also adds that the only way how we can present our culture in storytelling is get inquisitive, be patronize it. That is also one of the things, and a lot of more things that he said on this article. And personally, I'm glad to present that amazing short story right there, which has taken me 36 minutes of my time, but I had to talk about it. Tomorrow, it being World Storytelling Day, that is tomorrow, the 20th of March. I do hope Africans and understanding what is happening, or why Congolese want to bring this about, especially, I believe actually this should be taken very serious if it's by Congolese themselves, DRC Congo people, anyone from where we know, and it's the whole continent where we should be embracing this. But for now, with everything happening in DRC Congo, South Sudan, Djibouti, Ethiopia, storytelling or our narratives and our writings should be done by us. We should not have any British authors. We should not have any other people telling our stories if it's not us as African people. Those are just my thoughts, and that is the only way we can be able to change this. But I want to share this video a little bit of what Congolese are doing. And when they talk about, from this article we just read, incorporate diversity, twist, and drama. Our stories did have drama, like, that is where the passion of acting comes from, and a whole lot more. But shout out to you, Ghost. Thank you so much for the compliments. Hope you're doing great today, and nice to see you. And shout out to also Kimcom. I don't know, Kimcom. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Let me see. But shout out to you for following the live creator and assign.
The good old art of African storytelling. In the streets, in theaters, or at home in Congo, all means are fit to bring storytelling to life.
KRCom, thank you. Shout out to user 42. Welcome to the Blackout Fire Network.
Just
okay, my internet is buffering.
At the good old art of African storytelling. In the streets, in theaters, or at home in Congo, all means are fit to bring storytelling to life. Just as here at the Storytelling Resource.
Okay, so my internet is buffering, but that is what is happening over there. It's just basically drama and, showing the actions of what took place apart from just storytelling, putting actions into it. And it is creative. It is amazing. It is unifying, actually, because storytellings do unite people, not even actually just the children. I think I used to see this. I'm not sure if amongst the adults, especially the men, if it used to be very active. I'm not sure, but I think so. My mind and my memory kind of gives me a glimpse of that. I don't know, but I feel like it was there. When you talk about the chiefs, when you talk about the kings, like, men could meet up and it was for a specific reason, and women as well. Like, we had different storytellings in our communities and they used to be taken serious. We had time for each other, but apparently today we have time for the internet and a whole lot of nonsense that doesn't make sense to us. But that is my story, which actually should be posed tomorrow, being the World Storytelling Day, but I had to bring that today because I believe it is very, very impactful. But moving on to the next conversation is about the commercial bank in Ethiopia, which actually you can see it did glitch yesterday, and a few people or a lot of people did collect and withdraw millions. I'm happy, being honest. David, thank you so much for following the live creator, and Asante Sana for tuning in. I don't know who wants to join, but if you have something to say, kindly let me know. If you have a point to give on the show, let me know. That's when I'm going to allow you in. Yeah. Print plug. If you have anything you'd love to add, that is, if you have points to give, I'm going to allow you in. But if it's you want to go live with me, it's a no. It's not the right platform. But anyway, yeah, what is happening in Ethiopia? They're saying Ethiopia's biggest commercial bank is struggling to recoup large sums of money withdrawn by customers after a system glitch. I hope this can happen to Kenya. I really wish this could happen. I wish this can happen right here in Kenya, but I don't have a bank, so makes a whole lot of sense. It won't benefit me, you know. But the customers discovered early on Saturday take out more cash than they had in their accounts at the commercial bank of Ethiopia, and more than $40 million, that is 31 million euros, was withdrawn or transferred to other banks, and that is the local media report. It took several hours for the institution to freeze transactions. Much of the money was withdrawn from the state-owned CBE, that is the Central Bank of Ethiopia, by students, and bank presidents were the ones giving this information yesterday. News of the glitch across universities, largely via message, apps, and phone calls. Long lines formed at campus ATMs with a student in Western Ethiopia telling the BBC Amharic people were withdrawing money until police officers arrived on campus to storm them. And why am I bringing this story? I'm happy for the people being honest. That is just the main reason why I'm bringing this story up. And can you imagine this being beneficial or falling into your benefits one day, one time? It's probably impossible, but it can also be possible. If it was possible in Ethiopia, it is possible anywhere, you know, where you can get saved, you know, by a bank glitching and withdraw huge transactions of money. The major reason why I'm bringing this up is because when you see how the banks can, and we've been seeing that is what they're going to do, you know, which was we were discussing yesterday, bringing this biometrics and all that, them wanting to take full control of your money and a lot of things. I'm happy for the people because of that, and because of how the banks wako na kiburi, you know, there's a term I want to use. They control, literally, that is what they do. Control your finances. I think if you've seen this before, that once you put your money in the bank, don't expect or don't literally think it's yours. It's no longer yours. Once it's out of your hand, it belongs to the bank. And we've seen that a couple of times where we've seen people trying to, I think last year but one, that happened a couple of times where I saw so many reports of people trying to go withdraw their money. They were being denied access to the money. It also happened in Nigeria some time back, you remember, where they didn't have, literally, they were not being allowed to go withdraw their money from the bank. And at that time, Nigeria had a shortage of cash. Cash, if I'm not wrong, and they were still being denied to literally go withdraw or transact their money from the bank. So I'm happy for the people of Ethiopia. And this is where again, I feel like with that chance being given, which is not serving the whole continent, but if it was the whole continent, I feel like this is where we need to understand why it is so important of you being in control. You know, yesterday we did discuss about, who owns the banks, who controls the banks, and all that. So Africans, all I'm going to say is that you're not safe. When you think you have millions of money, you know, to save you later, be very conscious, because our presidents are out here signing deals and a lot of things that can literally involve your money, which is not yours because it's in the bank. That is the main reason personally why I brought this story up, because I believe that people need to get and enjoy Christmas once a while. But moving on to the next conversation is about Gambia, which we saw yesterday. They were supposed to actually make a decision whether they are going to continue practicing the female genital mutilation in the country of this is going to become illegal. We've seen activists who are highly actually demonstrating about this, it being banned, and it to stop it, for it being stopped practiced in the country. But we've seen other people are so much actually into the cultural practices, also don't want this to stop. But we can see today, this was supposed to happen yesterday. The Gambia parliament was to make this decision yesterday, but they have postponed the debate whether they shall overturn the FGM ban or not. And I wonder why they are delaying this. That makes me question a lot. Why is it that they're delaying something that is just so quick to make? We're not talking about LGBTQ bullshit right here. We're talking about literally people dying, or trying to think about who's going to be saved, who's going to survive or not. This is not something we're supposed to be practicing as a continent of Africa. Like I said yesterday, personally, me talking about it, it's really hurting, and at the same time, it is hurting, and at the same time, I feel like it is so backward of Africa, even this being a topic. It is a shame, being honest. It is a shame. But they say an attempt to repeal a 2015 ban on the female genital cutting in Gambia was sent for further committee discussions by lawmakers on Monday. Gambia activists fear the passage of the bill would overturn years of work would overturn years of work to better protect girls and women. The legislation was referred to a national committee for further debate and could return to a vote in the weeks and months ahead. Activists in the largely Muslim country had warned the lifting of the ban would hurt years of work against a procedure often performed on girls in the mistakes believe that it would control their sexuality. Yesterday, we checked the number of women in a year who died because of this. We saw it is 44,000. Yearly, we expect a death rate of 44,000 of women and young girls who die because of female genital mutilation. We saw 28 countries are very active in this participation. 20 have been able or managed to ban this cultural practices, and we still have so many yet to go. Kenya being one of them, because Kenya was among the mentioned countries that highly participate in this. Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, and so many, Malawi that I mentioned yesterday, Cote d'Ivoire, if you can remember, for those who are tuned in. They also say that the procedure which also has been called female genital mutilation includes the partial or full removal of external genitalia, often by traditional communities, practitioners with tools such as razor blades, or at times by health workers. And we also saw how effective this is, because I discussed and narrated and checking onto articles that we were checking yesterday. So many people end up acquiring STDs, HIVs, a lot of diseases, and because of using this same blade, and it is so unhealthy, and it needs to be stopped. That is just what I'm gonna say. And again, I'll repeat, it is a shame to see that Africa and the men, especially the leaders, because they are the ones who are supposed to talk about this, make this role, but it is a debate. You have failed as a society, you've failed as a country, you've failed as men of the continent of Africa to protect your women, to protect your children, because I've seen where we have actually very greedy fathers who are going by all means to do this to their daughters because they need to get that dowry money. They need to get those kettles. They need to get their daughters sold to a wealthy man. And then it comes with a mode of selfishness where if I sell this daughter to this wealthy man, I don't care how she's going to be treated. I don't care whether she's torture she goes through. I've received the money, and this is a way of keeping her, I assume, purified. That's the best term I'll use, because it comes with a lot of jealousy, understand, where men think this, you're gonna cheat and all that. But that is what is happening in Gambia. Let me know what are your thoughts regarding this and all that. But before we move on, there is another article I want to share right here. A few facts about being a black person, or about blackness. and a lot of stereotypes we've seen that have been narrated and created about blackness. So these are the facts of the week of this week, and I want to share them with you. The fear of blackness, and one of them is a black rhinoceros. And it is believed that a black and white rhinos are not named based on their skin color. Multiple sources say that black rhinos got its name from mistranslation from Dutch, African to English. However, since the white rhinos is fairly docile, the names are believed to be a result of negative perceptions of blackness, since black rhinos has a reputation of being extremely aggressive. The second one is about black dogs, where it is believed that some animal rights groups claim that they are euthanized more often in North America because adoptions are far less likely due to negative perceptions of being violent, and they call it black dog syndrome. I didn't know about that, being honest. This is something I'm learning today. We also have the black tip shark, which it is believed that they have zero known personalities and have more to fear from humans than other way around, since they are caught for the meat, and however they are regardless as more dangerous than the white tip sharks, which have killed humans before. The black cats, these are felines, which are outcasted and often linked with superstitions associated with bad luck, sorcery, and witchcraft. And I'm not gonna cap. I'm not a fan of cats. I don't know if I'm the person who have the fear of not just a black cat, but I have fear of cats. I don't like cats. Yesterday, I met a very weird, crazy looking cat, and I was like, hell no. And in Africa, we've grown up with the stereotype or the perception of if a cat crosses your path, that is a bad luck. So I think I still have that in my mind, even up to date. I know it sounds crazy to most of you, especially those who are listening, but it's just that I'm trying to unlearn that. So shout out to you. Yeah, and if you still have the same stereotype as me, I mean, we are unlearning. Yeah, welcome to the class. But I still have that perception of cats. Personally, I don't like cats. I don't believe they are a bad luck, but I just don't like cats. They are believed to be sorcery because of the eyes, especially the eyes. Witchcraft, very also believed, especially my dad used to see cats and start even praying, like, he'll start cursing the shit out of Jesus, out of that cat and all that. But another also have the blackbirds, which are also known in some cultures. Blackbirds are associated with bad omens, particularly if they gather in large numbers or if they are merely spotted. And the one example is the black owl and vulture, which I agree, kinda, and I'm gonna give a story about that. The association may be influenced by their dark plumage. And I wanna agree with that, because it is believed if you see not just a black owl but an owl itself, it's that coming in your home. That is what they used to believe. That if you see an owl, someone is gonna die. And I remember there's a time in my grandma's home, the owl appeared, then someone died, then they were like, that was the message. So I also took in and I was like, yeah, this is true. And I believe we have so many black people who believe that, if I'm not wrong. Something else, they also say that it's also about the black widow fish, which is named after the black widow spider, if that is got it correct. And they are an extremely peaceful fish that displays no aggression and are harmless to humans, but their black color may contribute to beliefs that they are dangerous. Another one, we have the black panther, which they're saying that even though it is a variant of several big cat species, including leopards and jaguars, the black pigmentation has led to associations with mystery or danger, especially in folklore or popular culture. And last but not least is, I think that is what he was trying to explain, but yeah, those are the top 7 beliefs about blackness. And I believe we've discussed this a couple of times, where we've seen that everything black has been termed as bad, termed something evil, something to fear. And that is the same narrative they've been able to create with media, black people, especially the black Americans, violent drug dealers, drug consumers, thugs, killers, and all types of things. And if you try look at the reality of it, it is a lie, it is a lie. And I'd love to say also some part of it is true, because some black people have fed that into their narrative, and it is who they are today. I mean, we have just black people who want to just be rogue, violent, and taking that perception given about black Americans, and it has fitted so well with them, or sat very well with them. But I see K. Williams in the building. Karibu sana. Or you're saying that who are all these new people in the WhatsApp chat yesterday on the conversation of the Africa Today show? I think you wasn't there yesterday, so you missed out. I'm not sure. But yes, those are the people we have. I don't know what has been happening on the WhatsApp chat though. Like, you guys are just, I don't know, voice, whatever. You guys are just, I don't know what voices are going on there. I don't know what's happening in there. Something I'm not getting. But anyway, shout out to all of you. I see you say it is exactly 7:04 on your end. 7:06 if I'm not wrong, but thank you so much for tuning in. You are the late one here. I am not late. Actually, I am out of time. My time is out, and I'm getting just to the major conversation as I get to wind up. You are the one who is late, but you can catch the show on a replay. But yes, so the major focus of the day is about Gaza, which is rejecting South Africa request for more emergency orders. And we can see that Israel is actually, telling the UN to not accept any accusations or anything coming from South Africa. Israel has urged the UN top court to reject the latest request by South Africa to interim orders to prevent starvation in Gaza as of breaching the Genocide Convention with its military offensive against Hamas. In a written response published yesterday, which is on Monday, by the International Court of Justice, Israel said that the claims by South Africa in its request filed earlier this month are wholly unfounded facts and law. They are wholly unfounded in fact and law, morally repugnant and repugnant and represent an abusive. My phone is going off. Keith, come to YouTube kindly. The TikTok phone is going off. And an abuse both of the Genocide Convention and of the court itself. Israel's response was published on the day of the UN Food Agency and said that famine is imminent in northern Gaza, where 70% of the remaining population is experiencing catastrophic hunger, and further escalations of the war could push around half of the Gaza total population to the brink of starvation. And I'm not surprised, being honest, and I want to share this very quickly before I get to move out of here and to say why I'm not surprised, because this is what we had one of the U.S. officials saying about Israel.
Israel, like other countries in the region, is a sovereign country that makes its own decisions. The United States does not dictate to Israel
or decisions of genociding. So you want to say Israel is a sovereign country of genocide? A country sovereign of genocide, and they have the right to make decisions of genocides. They can go killing people in DRC Congo, in Sudan, just because they're the cats, the small hearts who control the rest of the world, like literally the world. So that is why they can make their own decisions. I think that is what I'm picking from this man.
Israel what it must do, just as we don't dictate to any country what it must do. We present what we believe are the. We present what we believe are the. Good one, Matt. We present. No, I mean, but come on, yeah. It's we present stand-up hour at the.
Yeah, so the laugh there was someone questioned even invading countries, and he laughed about it, you know, and that's why this.
Israel, like other countries in the region, is a sovereign country that makes its decisions. The United States does not dictate to Israel what it must do, just as we don't dictate to any country what it must do. We present what we believe are the. We present what we believe.
Unless it is invading the country, I mean that it is crazy, and I'm not surprised personally. I'm just gonna be honest. This is who they are. They're not gonna accept anything they're doing. We've been discussing this for months. What the main reason why we having Palestinians being displaced or being killed? They want to invade that part of Gaza, and it's basically what that man posed there. Even if it means invading the country, you will mean that you are a sovereign country. You can take and make decisions of what you believe. And I'm not surprised, being honest. So
what he's saying is a lie. America doesn't control Israel because Israel controls America. That's why. Anything he knows, he knows what he's saying is a lie. He knows that Israel controls America. So the idea he's saying, oh, we don't tell Israel what to do because we can't tell Israel what to do. They don't want to control the United States and the rest of the world. That's why. What he said, that's when you know somebody just talking complete bullshit. We don't tell Israel what to do because we can't. Those are the people that control this planet. That's why. That's why we don't tell Israel what to do. We can't tell Israel what to do. That's right. Because Israel tells us what to do. That's why. And everybody pretends like they, and everybody knows what they do. Everybody talking about the TikTok ban. Everybody already caught out. Everybody already know who's behind the ban. They do with America. Everybody knows it's the cats and the small hats. See it all on TikTok. Everybody knows it now. That's why. Talking some moronic shit. America's been telling other countries what to do through Israel forever. No, we don't tell other countries what to do. That's why we ban people for not allowing us to have push the LGBTQ agenda in their country, but you don't tell other people what to do. It sounds stupid. It sounds completely moronic.
It is crazy, and we're gonna see what South Africa response is on this. But it is sad to see that nobody, with all this going on, and we know it is Israel, which is which is guilty of what is happening in Congo, in South Sudan, so many African countries. It is all about resources, it's all about again, power, motion, and it is poor of seeing Africans, us supporting this. But I understand where South Africa comes from, but we have much more to worry about, much more bigger issues to worry about than we don't see shown. So why are we worried about people who don't give a F about us? Pardon my French. And that is just the realistic part of it. Nobody cares about Africa. Only we care about the rest part of the world, and which is so docile of us. That is all I'm gonna say. Yeah, so that is my conversation today. Shout out to you, Jabba. Nice to you. Hope you're doing great. And Karibu Sana. I see K. Williams is saying that some are trolls. I'm not really sure. I really added genuine people, 2 people on WhatsApp. And one of them is even right here listening to you. So shout out to you, K. Williams. I know they're not trolls. They're people who just have genuine intentions. And that is WhatsApp. But I also see Jabba, you're saying that out of the running out for will not exit like apartheid South Africa. I hope not. That's why I believe South Africa is pushing so hard on this. But I don't know. I want to say like
who created the apartheid in South Africa? Who in South Africa? Okay, say these names. Oppenheimer, De Beers. Who are these people? Like I said, how's Israel the number one distribution distributors of diamonds. Well, only diamonds come from fucking Africa. Right? Ask these little questions. Ask them. How has Israel got control of the distribution of diamonds in the world when the diamonds come from Africa? Don't no African got distribution of the diamonds? Why? I wonder why. And shout out to you. Yeah, I got your message, David. I was asking you send me on YouTube. I agree. He's gonna make Joe be mad, but I agree. I like the girl that they interviewed today. I don't know about the other ones yet. If you listen, brother, send me that private message. I did like her. I thought she was. I thought she interacted well with Joby and Shamani. But they said they had another lady that came in earlier this week. I think it was last Tuesday. That was really good. I didn't see her or the other gentleman, but that young lady they had today, I think she vibed with them. That's why I liked it, because it was Joby and Shamani. It was like a natural vibe between all of them. It wasn't uncomfortable like that, like somebody last week. But that was comfortable. Joby gets mad when I talk about stuff. Stuff. I'm just responding to you, David. You send me that thing if you're listening. I liked her too.
Anyway, family, Asante this has tuned in today. Have an amazing rest part of your day. Shout out to UK Williams. I hope you have an amazing day at work and on your way to work. And yeah, shout out to Jiba Jabba as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. And to all my amazing silent listeners who I see you in plenty right here this morning. I appreciate you so much for tuning in. Kindly catch us later on the Black Kings frequency. But remember to come back on the network if you do have time.
Of course, Kate Williams. I'm gonna ask her which one she would prefer. Of course, she's the one got to work with them. I'm just putting my 2 cents. The ones that I've seen. They said it was another young man that was really good, but it was just natural. Hers was just natural with both of them. That's what I seen immediately. I said, this is natural, it's not forced. It was they were laughing back and forth, talking. It was comfortable. So that's what I look for. Are they comfortable together? Can they get along? Black women, no matter where you go, can never get along with each other. It ends up always being some jealousy, some. Does she have a problem with a black woman being her boss? Are you loyal? Black women always like they're in some competition with each other. They got to start getting catty and disrespect each other. So I'm, just try to make sure we don't get that vibe.
Shout out to you, Samuel. Asante for tuning in. I don't know about Simba. He never communicated. And
Simba never showed up. I'm surprised Simba never showed up. I was thinking. Funny thing about that, I was thinking about that in that interview this morning after Joby tried to reprimand me. I just asked the question. Good God. Anyway, I was thinking about that too. I said, "What happened to Simba?" I was kind of disappointed that Simba never showed up. I said, "What happened to Simba?" I'm looking so mad, Joe.
I don't know, and none of my business, and that is what I'm gonna say. I'm not following no grown-ass man. But anyway, family, have an amazing rest part of your day. See you guys on the Black Kings frequency. Come back on TikTok for those who are with us on TikTok. Join Shmani and Kamlesh. They're coming back with the KNS. BHFL countdown. And I hope you guys get to enjoy.
Check your phone, Jeb. Check your phone. I got to tell you. I'm trying to tell you, but you don't be checking your phone. Check your phone. It's something you're not realizing that you're doing all the time, and you're not. I'm not gonna tell you on air. I'll tell you off air.
Okay. Much love. Have an amazing rest part of your day, family.
Much love, family.